let's say he was a university student and he was struggling paying his tuition.
I think.
I'm trying to. Yeah. My point right now is still on the. Sometimes there's more that churches can do to help people.
Mm-hmm. But that's. I think that we're also putting blame on an institution that technically right now in this discussion isn't at fault. This guy.
I know.
Is at fault.
I know.
And we can definitely open up the discussion to the church and how they can contribute. I'm with that. But he is, you see, I came here today to be able to not look at him and go, oh, shame. Because did we not talk about how it's how someone can be not vilified, but they ridicule you and they make fun of you because you get to a certain age, you still a virgin. It's like, what's wrong with you?
He said that even in church,
yes,
people look at him weird and ridicule him.
Rightfully so.
Why is he a virgin?
Yes.
The very place where the Bible teaches people to be virgins until they get married.
No, you see, it's
why
not,
is he being ridiculed in the house of God?
Because he's 37 years old. You see, if he was 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, right? That's fine. 27, 28, 29, 30. Whoa, buddy. What's going on here? Okay. How are your things coming in order? So we get to be able to poke at you because you're at an age now where certain things are expected of you. Like, listen, as a man, 37 years old, all right? To be a virgin isn't the problem. It's that you haven't got the right things in order to deal with being a virgin. Because he, as a man of faith, is going, I will only consummate my marriage after I have it. All power to you, my guy. You do that, and I'm very proud of that. Don't change that position. But if you're not going to take responsibility of what you must do to realize that, that's when I go, there's a problem. So you don't deserve it. He doesn't deserve pum pum. Yes, he doesn't deserve. Yes, because you see, if he can't, based on the value that he's presenting, he's saying, listen, I will only do this because of my moral position and my faith. Right? So if that's the value you're presenting, you're not going to work towards that fruit that you get. Yes, if you aren't going to put in the work to get the pum pum, then what's the point? And I say pum pum to try and make bluntly what the intercourse aspect is, because there's so much more to it. You can't look at being in a relationship based on being intimate with someone, especially being married, because he seems to have solely focused on intimacy as what the value is of being married, not realizing there's so much more that must be done outside of the intimacy. Wake up, buddy.
I mean, I just think, I do think that you do have a point. We all have to take responsibility of our lives at some point. And if you look at this country, Zimbabwe, a lot of people people don't have a stable income in this country. They don't. A lot of people there are people who do. It's not everybody, but generally.
But there's so many people without stable incomes are married with kids.
I'm trying to say that the situation that he's finding himself in is not unique to him. It's a lot of people, and that is why, there must be some way of getting around it, because a lot of people are still moving on with their lives. They're still managing to do. And when somebody
is carrying across.
When somebody loves you, I actually think that it's a lot to do with him having to deal with.
He doesn't. He does not. But
he's been through.
He doesn't
because
want
why
to let go.
Let go of his past experience.
Yes, he's holding on to them.
So maybe that's
he's carrying them like, oh, woe is me, woe is me. Woe is me, I've gone through this, so I'm going to carry this, and I won't be able to not be a virgin anymore because I went through this and I'm going to carry it and it's fine. I'm like, no, let it go. Let it go, because that's what's holding you back from being able to realize what you want. Unless, of course, that's the problem that I think you were addressing when saying the church should be able to tap into those specific issues in someone to help them.
That's what I guess, it is. It's definitely what I was trying to say. Maybe I was putting it across not so clearly or in a different way. But for me, when I read his story, first thing to me was this guy is damaged. He's hurt. That's how he feels. And the point was to talk about why he was a virgin at that age. There's a reason why he now brought up, the abuse.
Excuse.
You're calling it excuses.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a reason why he brought up all of those excuses. He's obviously again, seeing it as it's not really my fault.
You see now.
Why?
No accountability. He's not taking responsibility.
So maybe
it's
that's
everything
it.
else.
And you know what? This is not like to judge him
yes.
and say,
you know, disclaimer.
Yeah, you know, we had to say,
yeah.
Mr. Excuses.
But
We're not. It's not to judge. It's more of like we're trying to find an answer.
Yeah,
we're trying to find a solution. We're trying to find help because there's
yeah.
probably a lot of people who are also in this situation. There's who may find that what they've experienced in their past is affecting their present and stopping their progress. And many times there are things, and some of the people that the virgins that I mentioned in the 30s right now who are also not married, virgin not married, same thing. It's also, I found similarities in the stories of childhood trauma and having gone through things and this dealing with things like depression and stuff. And I don't think, I mean, I'm not a medical, professional, I'm not a psychotherapist or whatever, but from this kind of stories that people will explain, it's possible that there must have been some kind of a depression stage or period, or they're actually still in that depression and they don't realize it, or they don't know how to get out of it, and that stuff is holding them back from letting go, like you said, and just you feel all you can see is barriers. I know I really want to be married, but I really want to date this person, but, and you're not realizing that you're not letting go of all these things that you've experienced. And it could also be, this guy mentioned that he has a brother who suffers from schizophrenia.
And he also mentioned some dynamics that took place within the house, I think with his older sister, falling pregnant early.
Yeah, so it's almost like, but what have all those things got to do with you?
Yep.
That was your sister, that was your brother, and of course we love our siblings, and it's as a brother, be there for your sibling, but their situation is not yours. You are individuals, and you have your life to live, you have your progress, you have your own health to take care of. Care for your brother, but that his situation should not affect your own progress. So it's almost like he feels like all of these things that have gone, somehow they are the reason why
I think a part of
his life is where he is today.
Yeah.
Is it that his family puts a lot of responsibility on him? Kuti, kanawai tamari. We need to buy medication for your brother. Or maybe the sister who fell pregnant doesn't have someone taking care of her baby and he needs to make a contribution. Is that why that's affecting you? Because why is it affecting him?
Here's what I'm picking up from what could be affecting him. I think you brought up that he also mentioned that even other men, his peers as men in the church, whenever let's say guys are talking about sex or whatever it is there, right? He would then act like
he has to act like he's also had.
No, here's the thing, he doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
You see now, he chooses to act like as if he has. So what is he hiding from? He's scared to say now. You see now, he can't even acknowledge that, hold on a second, I haven't because this is my value. See, you've got a value proposition. You're going, I haven't because I'm holding on to this value proposition. He can't even acknowledge that. He would rather present himself as though he's someone who actually is having sex when he actually isn't. So what are you doing that for? There's another issue. There's a deeper issue that you're actually trying to address. And that's where my worry is with him. Is that like, you know what? You're putting this thing up of being chaste because of a moral argument, right? Like, no, God said, and this is what God is saying, I will do this here. But then you're not living that reality. And my worry with that is if you're even communicating to other men that you are having sex when you aren't, it's like, listen, let's be honest with you. I think the first time that when we started working together, you were very open and very clear. Listen, I'm untouched, right? And I can appreciate that in a lot of your interactions with people, you're very open in saying, I'm untouched, right? Yes, one can feel some kind of way amongst other people, but you're open about it because that's who you are and that's how you identify yourself.
It's not a wound to me. It's something. It's a fact that I'm like, it is what it is.
You see now.
I'm okay with it. choice.
Now he can't even. You see, at least if he looked at it like that.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
He doesn't even look at it like that.
He looks at it like it's a rock on his back. Yeah.
At least, because then I'd give him
a burden.
I'd still give him a few whippings to get it sorted out. But so the solution.
What is the solution?
I think if I could start backwards, you brought up the church. I'm not faulting them, but clearly, I don't think they've taken. Well, maybe they have or they haven't, but they need to engage that aspect and go, hold on a second, something's wrong here.
Exactly. Instead of looking at him like, you're weird, something is weird, something is strange. Yeah. Find out, because how come we got a whole story? How come I got a whole story about what is? But he's been in church for how long? Yeah. How come nobody knows that? And if they do know that, why is there no counseling? By now the guy should be okay. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He should have let go. So that's the thing that I was saying again, Kuti. Sometimes we put so much dependency on churches without actually realizing, Kuti, no. Wait a minute. I can actually, there's no perfection in this church. I'm not going to get everything I need from.
I agree, but I'm remembering. Remember, I sent you. I think I shared with you on Instagram. That Nigerian guy who was a virgin.
Yes.
He was having his interview, and then after he was no longer a virgin, and then he was now talking about his experience. Now. Okay. No. Please share that with this guy. No. Please share that with this guy. No,
he's gonna get it.
No. Here's the thing. After he watches this, please share that with him. Because here's what I want him to be able to understand. There is one level of understanding, and then there's a change that takes place after you transition. Then you go, I did not know. I had no idea, right? Now, the video that I'd sent you, yes, fair and fine, he's focusing on the actual intercourse and the uniqueness of it. But that's not my point. My point is that if he just looks at his life differently, right, in relation to the God that he believes in, but looks at his life differently, he will start realizing that, oh, hold on, this whole time I've been holding myself back, when in actual fact there's so much more that I could have been able to achieve and get done. I had no idea that this is the way the world could be. And that's what's important, especially as a man who is 37 years old. And he's saying to himself, 38 now. And he's saying to himself, woe is me, because I'm still a virgin. What? Woe is me because you haven't reached the point where you're understanding that this is the space that I'm in, but I'm not happy with the situation that I'm dealing with. So let's deal with that situation.
So don't you think he needs to go for counseling?
That's where it gets special now, is because in as much as we've been having this discussion, and it's been a very cool discussion, by the way.
Well, thanks for the content providers.
yes, thanks to the content provider.
Thanks to the content provider.
Send more content, guys. I'd actually love to hear if there's another guy who's there.
Because
I think I'd love to deal with the guys.
You are in a lot of men groups.
Oh, don't get me started on the men stuff right now.
No, I'm just saying that.
But yes,
but if people know that, they're probably gonna be like,
listen, I'll be honest. I'll be very honest. I'm on MGTOW, I'm on Red Pill, I'm on Manosphere. I mean, listen, there's a lot of stuff that I'm consuming right now that has got to do with masculinity and manliness. There's a lot of issues that people may have in terms of perception, how those things work. But the key things that anything that has to do with the Manosphere and all the Red Pill stuff speaks to is self-accountability as a man, right? And also self-development as a man in relation to yourself as a man, right? And when men, we're finding that there's a lot of effeminization of men. And this guy here is a good example of effeminization. He is approaching his virginity the way a woman would, right? As opposed to the way a man should. And it's because it's so effeminizing of men that we start looking at ourselves and thinking, well, do you know what, the way women go through things is the same way that we go through things. When in actual fact, you're not being accountable to what actually men go through. Because you're responsible to the way, biblically, you're responsible to the world. You're responsible to taking care of it and founding it, and which is why we've got the problems that we have, but you're responsible to those things. So if you can't be responsible to yourself, how are you going to be responsible to others? And hence his problem. But I think that if we can tap into a lot more men who can be honest with themselves and say that if your excuse is not having money or having resources, then what you haven't applied yourself into is how to be able to develop money and resources, because you're looking at money as the thing. You don't have to have money to make it happen. You have to have the drive to do things that turn into money. And then you will do what you need to do. And if you can get that clear into a lot of these men, this guy, 38, right? If I work with you, my boy, by 40, you'll even have 2 wives.
So that's what you believe in, huh?
Well, it's biblical.
Yeah, that's another topic that we for another day, because we know.
And I'd love to come back for that later.
Yeah, we'll definitely have Farai, and we're talking about this topic brought about lobola.
Yeah, it did, huh? Yeah, tell me about the feedback. Yeah, how did what people? Yeah, lobola. What else came out?
Well, it was lobola. It was churches. We spoke about that. It was. For me, I think the most interesting thing was realizing how there's a lot of men in this situation, because I'm used to, like I mentioned in the first video that most of the time, I think I did, when a woman is like in her 30s or whatever, 40s or whatever, being a virgin, you must realize that she must have also friends and, even family who may have the same, belief, because you grew up with in some kind of a community. Okay. So those principles that you were getting and whatever, maybe your sister is probably thinks just the same way as you. You know what I mean? So it can't be that rare for there to be virgins. It can't be, that girl is the only one. She's the only one in Zimbabwe right now. I'm the only 37-year-old virgin, which I'm actually still 36, which I mentioned in my I'm turning 37 in August. So I'm almost 37. I'm almost practically 37. So I sped it up.
Yeah.
Normally I'm like, no, holding on to.
But fortunately enough, women who have come to you in more of a thank you for putting that out there for me to know that I'm not alone.
I'm not alone.
And at the same time, does it not reflect the amount of collective agreement that women are finding themselves in that kind of a situation? Like, women can actually come together and go, okay, hold on a second. That I can be affirmed in knowing that the value proposition that I've held for my life is shared by someone else. So I can boldly hold myself where I am and go, it's fine, I'm good, everything's actually okay. But you're not going to have a bunch of virgin guys come together and go, oh, you're a virgin too, oh, you're a virgin too, oh, yeah, we're all virgins, That's not going to happen because it's different. For men, it's about responsibility. What you're saying is, if you're saying you're 30 plus and you're a virgin, what you're saying is this.
You're saying that I'm irresponsible.
I'm irresponsible.
You see? So these are the kind of things that surprised me because of this topic. Like, I was not expecting to discover any of this. And this came out especially from this letter that we just shared, is that your first reaction was, oh, he's not serious. And I'm like, but wait a minute, where'd you get that from? What do you mean he's not serious? Like, this is so sad. This is so touching. But now that we've opened it up and everything, you're like, no, he has a responsibility to get his life and do what he needs to do. And yes, you know what? Almost everyone, if not everyone, has never had an easy life all the way. Even if you're from a wealthy family or whatever, there's drama. A lot of people have had a past that wasn't so easy, So I think that's the other thing. Sometimes maybe if you are so used to just being in your own space and not really socializing that much, like he mentioned a lot of band practice and whatever.
Didn't he also say that he had a relationship but it was long distance?
He was in a long distance relationship.
That's another issue that I have, because why put yourself in the context of a relationship when you know you don't have to deal with what's required in a relationship? Here's the thing: if she's close to you, you're responsible to her because she's close to you. But
you're right, and maybe that's what he was trying to say, because that's why he mentioned I've never had a stable income, But then he so should have thought, but if something comes out of that long relationship, what?
Can a man value himself to be with a woman purely because? So here's what I'm hearing. Here's what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing you say is that, can also a man don't even bother trying to consider getting into a relationship. That's what I'm here. Because if he didn't have a steady income, it's like I'm like, well, hold on. So I shouldn't try and get a provisional license. I shouldn't try and get a driver's license because I want to buy a car.
Okay.
Like, yes, I want to in a bank, but like you can't.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is that I think that's how he perceives it. It's possible that's how he perceives. That's why. Again, again, the thing that you're saying about having these excuses and not realizing that they're actually excuses, but feeling like these are things that you cannot control. But you can still control your life. Like this God that you are serving every time you're in church. Surely, do you know what I mean? His plan is not for you to be suffering and everywhere is just barricades all around you, because of what I went through, because of my family, because of Chi, I'm just, like, that's the thing sometimes about being so religious and still not even knowing who God is. And I'm not saying that you don't know who God is, but I'm saying that you've got to open your mind.
No, listen, he clearly is acting like as if he doesn't. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You're not saying he doesn't.
Yeah.
But he's acting like he doesn't.
Yeah, you're acting like you don't know how big God is. Like, we've all had a difficult life, difficult experiences that we've had. I know that my childhood wasn't so bright and whatever. You know what I mean? Which is something that I might speak about one day. You know what I mean?
Hey.
And knowing God and being, growing my relationship with God actually healed me from some of those childhood traumas that I went through. There was a time in my life where I said I would never get married. I didn't even want to even ever get married in my 20s. Mid-20s. I was like, I'll never get married. Never. Don't want to do it. Because of certain things that I had seen in my childhood. Because my parents' marriage wasn't the most perfect. So there were certain things that I witnessed that I grew up with. And at some point I was like, you know what? If this is what marriage is like, I'm screwed up.
Oh, shit.
Exactly. So, but then as you grow and then you realize, you meet other people who are happy and you realize that, look, life in general is never going to be perfect. You know what I mean? You make a choice and you do the best with what you've chosen and you exercise wisdom, try and if you want to be with somebody, then don't rush it. Get to know the person. There's just take control of the situation and don't allow the past to take away your future. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the main thing.
Talking about the future, I need to go pick up my future.
So that was the last word that we want to say.
Yeah.
Don't let your past steal your future away from you. Yeah.
Okay, here's my part. My brother, whoever you are, listen, I would be very open to having a sit down with Gugu, of course. Doesn't have to be on camera.
Gugu Uletu,
Yes.
some people, this is called Uletu Sip and Tip.
It's Uletu Sip.
Because Uletu.
Because no, see, she's my people's.
Exactly.
She's like my family.
So when you say
this is like meeting my family peoples. But I was saying, my brother.
When you hear someone on the show saying Gugu or Gugse, it's me that they are talking about. I am the one.
It is you.
I am the one.
So yeah, it's. I'd love. My point is that I'd love to be able to get your perspective, and it would work best with the dialogue. I mean, it's a safe space that you've made available. Like we might mention his name, we mention where he is, etc., etc., and then maybe we can do a follow up where I can then come back. Because here's the thing, this might change after I've met him. I might come back and go, actually, guys, I take it back. I've been given certain information, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. I think I'm on the mark here.
Yeah, I think he probably needs just that. Meet new people.
Yeah.
Expand your horizon. Find out how other people are living their lives and how other people are dealing with their stress, their family guans. Because everybody has a story to tell. You know what I mean? But no, you have to decide not to allow that to steal your future away.
Last time I say, like, share, and subscribe.
Like, subscribe.
Sip and tip. Thank you, love. What's the pleasure?
Thank you.
Yeah.